Hi, I'm Kelly Miller. I am an educator, feminist, and campaign manager, and you're watching Atheist Edge.
All right, so we have discussed aspects of religion and how we can also call it a cult. Now, TJ, start reading off aspects of cults and how we could tie it
Is that
to...
what you're looking
Yes,
at?
right
Methods, here. Yeah. A soft sell.
What's a soft sell? Anyone know what soft sell means?
It's so easy to believe this.
Yeah, kind of easy
How
someone
easy?
into it
Yeah.
and not be like.
Does it apply to religion as well? Remember, we're talking about cults now. Does that apply to religion as well? Can?
Yeah.
People, it is a
What
technique
else?
that people can use. You know.
Catch you at a crossroads.
Oh yeah.
Vulnerable time in your life, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And not just
we're
your
talking
life.
about cults here, but can religion do that also?
Well,
Prisons.
the heyday of Christian cults was the late '60s when people were coming out of a very turbulent time, and in California, these cults kept springing up because all these teenagers were running away from home because they couldn't
They
understand their
understand.
parents' values, and suddenly you find all these people that are good looking and they're all hugging on each other, and you're feeling this love going back and forth, and you go, well, it's got to be real. And there's a great cult called the Children of God.
Yes.
It's called them great. You heard of this?
There's a
This is the
Netflix
Jim
about it
Jones
too.
thing.
Yeah,
No,
that's right.
it's not Jim Jones. It's a different one.
Very different, but they grew from 8 members to like 10,000 members in a year. And I got to imagine, how must that have been like to be on the early end of that? It had to feel incredibly
To have
real.
thousands of
To have
people.
every day,
Yeah.
thousands are
When
joining.
in the end, the leader got convicted of some pedophilia or something.
He didn't get convicted. He died in 1994, but since then they've had to
Make
pretend
reparations.
things he said.
And
didn't
they
happen.
changed their name to the family, and they're still
Yes.
around.
And they never had to make reparations because they're not local anymore. They're a worldwide organization.
They were just California for a while.
You can't find their leadership anywhere. They live in secrecy.
An offer of a new reality.
How would that apply to religion?
Well, it's the same. It's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ will transform your life if you
Yeah.
but give your life
Oh,
over
let
to
me
him.
go
I got that in
back.
the Catholic
Let me
Church.
go back to catching you at the crossroads. Prisons is what I was thinking when I put
Oh
it.
yeah.
Prisons. That's your bottom of the barrel. You're at a crossroads in your life. You're rethinking your whole life. You're ready for redemption in many cases. And what do they do in prisons? Man, they push that Jesus on you.
So
like
all you
it's
got to
cool.
do is just turn your life over.
Yep, and does it not objectively get you out of prison faster if you turn?
It does.
Sure, it does.
But see,
Or-
the question that's being begged at this point, at least if I understand y'all correctly, the question that seems to be begged is, are we psychological people? Of course. Are we psychologically affected? Is anything that we do somehow atoms and nerves and electrons and all that kind of stuff? Of course.
Yeah,
Of
mind
course
is a
it
product
is.
of a brain. Of course, it's going to be psychologically affected.
That's exactly right, and that's the whole point of the Christian faith, or I say the whole point. That's one of the hallmarks of the Christian faith is we are a physical faith. We don't. I mean, Jesus Christ was fully God and fully man. I mean, he was really disturbed. Even though he knew what was coming up, even though he knew the future and could see that the resurrection, he could see everything else. How disturbed do you have to be to sweat drops of blood? This is the man that was fully God and yet fully man. The Christian faith is fully physical. It's fully and it embraces the physical, the here and now, right now, and so. Does psychology affect? Of course it does. Does when I tell someone that Jesus Christ died on the cross for your sins, and
Objection,
that
Your Honor,
person,
speculation. Sorry.
I don't think he died.
and the person at some point believes, and they may not feel anything, but let's say in this case they do. They feel a rush. They feel whatever. That doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it human. I mean, when you became an atheist, wasn't there?
I didn't become one. I've always been one. But
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So some
Chris,
have.
when Chris
Isn't
became an atheist.
there a sense of isn't there a sense either of conversion or of relief or of release? I mean, I'm
because
hearing
I
that
felt
in
like
all of you.
I felt like a very big burden was lifted off my shoulders.
Exactly.
Once I let go of all that
Exactly. This whole cult thing, it
I
goes.
just need to change
You know
the
what
angles.
comes around goes around.
I felt
It
like
applies
sigh
to
of
you.
relief
You
when I let
can
go of all my
make
religious
connections with
Yeah,
what the
that's
Christian
good
cult
stuff.
is.
I gotta get us
with
back on
the
track.
cult,
Yeah.
you can make that same connection with becoming atheist. Are we psychological people? Of course.
The next thing is that they introduce a dear leader.
Slam dunk.
Isn't Dear Leader a 1984 reference?
Well, dear leader is Kim Jong.
Yeah, that's a North Korean.
It's a Korean.
Yeah.
It's Un's
Yeah.
dad. Dear
Kim
leader.
Jong-il.
He was
Yeah.
Kim Jong Il, who's
still
still
dubbed the
lead-
dear leader.
No, he still is. He still
Yeah.
he leads
It's
North
a
Korea from the
thanatocracy.
grave. Yeah.
Promote division with outsiders. All the world, all those worldly people out there, they don't have your best interest in mind, and don't get caught up with the world.
Worldly. You hear that a
We're
lot.
against all those people out there in the world.
Us versus them mentality.
Us
Does that
versus
occur
them.
in religion and cults, or
It
just
does.
cults? We're talking about cults here, but can it apply to religions too?
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. That divisiveness.
An us
That
versus them
that
mentality.
we got it right. Everyone else, we need to get them on track. Even the ones that think. I mean, even like Southern Baptists think, freaking whatever.
Northern Baptist, yeah.
Whatever Baptist. Okay.
But isn't that true of every group?
Yeah, but it ought to be. I mean, if
Isn't that true of no? I'm not even saying in a bad way. Isn't that true?
It is.
It has to be true of a
It
group.
is,
If
but-
you're in a group, there has to be something that you know that nobody else, that other people don't know because they're not in your group, right? You're an atheist, and there are people that are not atheists, and so there's just something not.
Well,
they're not
we're
quite
different.
right. They're not quite informed. They're not quite something.
Even among
Well,
us, we don't
I was
And-
going to say, I
We
would
don't have
definitely
any
agree with the
Mark.
father here, where there's definitely an infighting that can happen in any.
Yeah,
group.
I mean,
we don't have a dear leader, and we don't
We
have
don't.
secret knowledge.
Yeah.
But we fight with each other all the
But
fucking
it's not
time.
over religious ideology.
No,
That's the
it's
only
not.
thing we
It's about
agree on.
political
Sure it
and
is.
social bullshit.
Sure it is.
Right, which is
Well,
peripheral.
Atheism
Okay.
is just as religious
Atheists
as
don't
anything
argue
else.
over
Yeah.
what
I don't agree with
argument is
that.
best.
Oh yeah,
in
you
atheism
the
general,
fact that
right?
you're
we argue
that,
about the other
the
shit.
fact that you assert that there is not a God, it has all kinds of implications, in everything that you do. Of course, it's religious, and it's a religious of non-theism, but it's religious in the sense that your idea of what God is, in this case, not one, drives everything you think about.
Well, the idea that a viewpoint could have implications is not a religious thing in and of itself. I mean, we don't.
No,
we
not
don't-
a viewpoint, but theism viewpoint having implications is a hallmark of religious thought.
Well, and let me help you a little bit on the phrasing of it, because to be an atheist doesn't mean you believe no God exists. It means you believe that no one's proven God exists.
I have to jump in and say that's the colloquial.
That's the
definition.
colloquial definition.
Philosophical definition is a positive claim that God doesn't exist. But yes.
Well, but
Okay.
even if he's right, regardless of whether you're making the philosophical claim or the colloquial claim, the claim is that
You reject it.
He's immaterial to.
in
whatever-
both cases, God is not necessary.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the in wherever you're gonna
Yeah.
fall.
Peer pressure. This is with cults. Does peer pressure exist in religion as well?
Well, it's kind of all over the place, religions and not. I mean,
With religious claims, not socio-political.
Yeah.
Not socio-political.
no, I don't know if it's necessarily as directed and as intense as maybe in a cult.
Okay.
Like we aren't going out there to deliberately enforce a particular view on anyone by means of peer pressure. But there's influences in here or there
Well,
where
but that's not what peer pressure is. Peer pressure isn't me taking you by the hand and preventing you from going here or going there. Peer pressure is, you went to church last week?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Are you?
That's peer pressure.
You really? mean,
Peer pressure is kind of
the other way.
shaming someone for doing
Yeah.
something outside
Yeah,
of what
there's a shaming
Exactly. And that
component.
happens
I
in
think there's a
every
shaming
group. Again, all
component.
you're asking with these cult questions is, are there particular characteristics of a group? And since, I mean, you're making, it seems to me, a false analogy. Are there particular characteristics of a group? Let's say a cult, yes. And do Christians have some of these characteristics? Yes. And so, well, they must be, there must be identity.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Right.
it's a false equivalence.
But the thing is, let me grant you something. Are all of those questions valid questions about?
Of course.
Can these characteristics that can happen in any group?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Can they be perverted?
Could be a false equivalence.
Could they be perverted to be something oppressive? And there is no question. I mean, coming from the inside.
Yeah, I'll give you that concession, Mark. That's a great point. Last one.
I joined a church because a pretty girl asked me to go. Is that the same thing?
That's peer pressure.
Man, that's whoa. Well, that's an appeal. That is an appeal to your hind brain, sir. That is an appeal to your hind brain.
It's so
It's
My
a
brain was not satisfied in the end. So
exactly.
All right, here Last one. This is we're talking about cult still. The deity or the physical leader is sometimes a sociopathic narcissist.
That's a Republican Party.
Remember, we have a Republican.
Oh, the irony. Oh, the
We
irony.
have a right winger. We probably have two here.
Go ahead.
I had not announced my politics. And I really
Not
don't.
at all.
I
Not at
don't
any point
hesitate
have
to
you.
guess
Yeah.
yet, but he's right leaning.
I'm a little bit more conservative. I have a little bit more of a conservative streak in me.
There are right wing atheists.
I'm socially liberal on most topics.
I'm actually more like that.
So
Okay. Anyway,
Fiscally
the
conservative.
deity
Fiscally conservative,
or the physical leader, or both. Jesus, I'm thinking Jesus right now. Even though we're talking about cults, is a sociopath or a narcissist or both. Would you consider Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad?
or a lunatic liar or lord kind of a
No,
proposition,
no.
or
Jesus is obviously narcissistic. He
has to be.
Ooh,
laid
wow.
down his
That's
life.
an admission.
He submitted to torture. He died on the cross, and he did it for people that hated him.
and how couldn't you
Yes,
help
he's
but be
obviously
narcissistic? How could you
I-
not be a
I
narcissist and do all those things?
I think you're absolutely right.
Knowing that you're God and you're going to come back 3 days later, Jesus didn't die first.
Well,
and that's
that the Christian faith makes about him being fully human. He was dripping great drops of blood in the midst of knowing everything that he knows.
Yeah.
He was also experiencing everything that a human experiences.
Father, could it?
By the way, I'm just a deacon.
I'm sorry. If
okay.
I call you whatever I think that you
You
deserve.
can call me. Well,
It's not late for dinner, right? Okay.
yeah, just don't call me late for dinner.
Okay, I
There
got
you
you.
go.
So if you say that, but if you knew, you say that he had a complete foreknowledge of the events of the crucifixion. He had to. He's God, right? There's no way he couldn't know.
But if you know,
Yes
If you
and no.
know, well,
Yes and
well,
no.
if you know
yes
you're
and
the
no.
shit,
No,
are you a
there's either
narcissist?
Yes or is a
No, yes and no. I would. Well, let me just say.
If he had
Okay,
foreknowledge,
okay, here, let me
let me
get-
develop the rest of my thought.
Okay,
first.
well, then I'll tell you a way to
Let me
trip
develop
me
the
up.
rest of that thought.
I'll
The
give you a way
development
to
of the
trip
rest
me
of
up.
that thought is that if he had foreknowledge of the events of the crucifixion and he knew that he wouldn't stay dead, how is that a sacrifice? To me, it's not a sacrifice when you know you are not going to lose the thing you purport to know you are losing. He didn't lose his life.
Okay,
He was
okay.
reborn.
I know for a fact that the guy that's coming through the door is not going to kill me. But to save y'all, I'm not even going to say me because I wouldn't do that. You, to save us.
oh, this is gonna be bad.
I'm just not that brave. I'm sorry. I don't have that in me.
Yeah.
But you would going out, knowing that he's not going to kill you, but would torture you horribly so we could escape. I would say you made a huge sacrifice.
So then, but the whole thing is that the crux of the crux of the salvation via crucifixion was that he had to die, pay the blood price
for
But it's-
sin, but he didn't pay the blood price.
Yes, he did.
No,
Of
he didn't,
course,
because
yes,
he was resurrected.
You-
That to me is the reversal of paying.
He
the
just
blood
had a
price.
bad weekend for our sins.
Yeah, he gave up his
You're,
weekend.
you're tortured for everything. That's not a blood price.
But he
All right.
didn't get
He
tortured.
experienced the whole thing.
Let's get back on track. Let's get back on track. Now we are done with comparisons. Raise your hand if you think that it looks like cults and religions are basically synonymous. 1, 2, really? Even after all the ties we just did.
Well, you're acting like there are.
One is more
zero-
popular,
Well,
my opinion.
there are definitely similarities. They definitely have things in common, but they don't have all things. In
Yeah.
common.
Based on what we
they
talked
have
about,
some
aren't there
things that
very
are
similar?
Yeah.
You still are holding out. Okay, great. Now we're going to talk about to describe cults. Now, I'm gonna tell you about a district on Earth. I'm not going to tell you where it is,
District on Earth. Okay.
even though someone already might have given it away. I'm going to tell you about a relatively small geographical location on Earth, and I'm going to count the number of religions that have spawned out of it, and you tell me where on Earth it is, right? And you tell me what is weird, what makes that particular geographic location so prone to have so many different disparate, divisive, contradicting ideas that came out of the same spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 known, recognized religions. 13 religions came out of this little district. First off, who can tell me what part of the earth I'm talking about? Second, why? What makes that area so weird, special?
My initial guess would be India.
No, you're obviously talking about Palestine. That would be my guess.
Palestine,
Or California.
yeah, Palestine.
Palestine or
I
California.
didn't throw you guys off at all. Well, we were just talking about the burned out district. I thought you were going to say upstate New York.
I'm trying to play it as if I hadn't heard that. So if I just hearing you blind, I would say.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
tried to reverse psycho. Well,
Yes.
he got it right.
The burned over district. Tell me more.
No. I wanted you guys to think upstate
Wisconsin.
New York because upstate New York had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 in the burned out upstate New York, 11 in the Middle East. Anywhere from Israel, Jordan, all the way to Egypt and down to Saudi Arabia.
Makes sense to me.
That whole area right there
Makes sense
is
to me.
11. That's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Samaritanism, Yarsanism, Baha'i, All-Lionism, Druze, Yazidi, Mendianism, Gnosticism, and Shabakism. All came from
Palestine.
basically from Jerusalem to Mecca and to Cairo, anywhere in that little area.
That's also where the first civilizations came about.
Yeah.
Good point. Now, let
What's
me name
your
all
point?
just kind of drawing a comparison between the
The people
burned
that
out
lived in
district.
that area
Burned out
like,
district.
really
Pentecost.
loved inventing religions.
The burned out district in upstate New York spawned Pentecostalism, Koreshanity, Latter-day Saints, American Shakers, Christian Science, Jehovah's Witnesses, Millerism, Seventh-day Adventists, and I put Millerism twice.
Man.
Is there any similarities? Now, we would consider, maybe with the exception of Pentecostals, which of course I consider them all cults. Well, that one aside, we would consider all the ones that came out of New York cults, yeah? Mormons, Koreshanity, Shakers, Millers, Jehovah's Witnesses. Those sound very culty. We can all kind of agree
Shakers
on
were
that
considered in their time a mainstream religion.
at the time.
Well,
okay.
they're dead now. They're not. They don't exist anymore.
They're a
What
little
group
more
is this?
the Shakers.
American
Shakers.
Shakers. The Shakers.
Well,
were
yeah,
around
they couldn't
before.
propagate. So
Yeah, and the Shakers were the early forebearers of adoptions.
Here's the bridge I'm trying to draw. Very culty, upstate New York. For some reason, not culty, same number in that little area patch in Middle East.
Because people.
Why
tend
are
to-
these
I don't
considered
know why.
culty? Is it because these are newer? But why aren't those considered just as culty? The ones over in the Middle East.
If you have
Maybe
a lot of
there's a
old
real
buildings-
God in one of them.
I'd go Shakers.
I mean, isn't that the big I mean, that's the question that's been begging all this time. You can make all these comparisons. Well, you know, this group has a leader and this group had a leader, and this group had a leader and it was Hitler. This group has a leader and it was whoever else. And since both of them have leaders, well, they both must both must be anti-Semitic. The big point seems to me is there truth? I mean, that's the issue.
Yes.
You can not then dump it, and if it is,
Hey, that's what we
I
did.
love guests who come on the show and make our arguments for us.
Are the numbers coming? Okay.
I was going to give you another one that would help you to trip me up, okay? Because you were talking earlier about Jesus being God, knowing all the things that are ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But us Christians, we have to wrestle with the fact that he knew everything, and yet it seems like he didn't. Because
My problem,
I don't even know when I'm coming back.
That's
That's what Jesus said, okay?
Like
He
my
had to
problem
know,
with
right?
it.
What's that?
He had to know.
Yeah, he had to know, and that's
And-
what my big problem with it is if you're all powerful and know all things, you can't
But did he
put
know
yourself
everything?
in a situation.
A lot of Christians say that he limited
There
his
is no
omniscience.
situation.
That's why he prayed to God. That's why he didn't know. Don't think
Even
for
though he
tomorrow.
knew
No,
the
yeah,
answers
you're
to
right.
all those,
They
even though he
do
knew
say
the
that.
answers to all
I
those
would
prayers,
strongly
every
disagree
single one
with
of them.
that, but I don't think you
Well,
could
if
be
he
God.
knew Judas was going to betray him, if
He knew
knew
that, though.
Sure, he
Peter
said
was
that
going
in
to
the
He
betray
beginning,
said
him.
it. He
and one is
already
devil.
said that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
but-
knows.
But
He already had said
Then
that.
it wasn't. Then it was a suicide. It wasn't.
Then it was a suicide.
It was a suicide.
a
If he
suicide
knew
that he
ahead of
knew
time.
that wouldn't go through.
What,
That
Jesus?
wouldn't
Yeah,
be
he killed
followed
himself.
through.
He
If he knew ahead
came
of time.
to do that. I mean, suicide, it was from the beginnings of the
But
world that
What's
he
the
knew he was
definition
going to
of
do this.
suicide?
What's
if,
that?
If I step out into traffic knowing that there's cars just coming 100 miles an hour, there's really zero chance that I'm not going to get hit. I step out knowing I'm going to get hit. Isn't that a suicide? Would that be ruled as
could-
suicide?
Okay, wait. No, I get to answer that question.
Okay.
Again, I mean that to me that's a non sequitur.
I'm trying to make
if
it not,
you run out there, of course it would be suicide. On the other hand, if you're standing on the edge of a street and it's incredibly busy and one footfall in that street would kill you, and some child comes barreling out there and you dive, you press him in because, aren't you a Marine? Did I get that right? By the way, thank you for
You're welcome.
defending our freedoms.
Gosh damn, thank you.
I mean that.
Sailor.
I mean, I can't, you're braver than I am. I'm just going to say it right now. You're braver than
He's
I am.
a warrior too, and Tilden is an airman.
Well, thank you.
He'll be back soon.
Thank you.
he'll
So
be back.
you do something that probably I couldn't do. You jump out.
Damn right. No, I'm just joking.
You jump and you
and
know
gentlemen, United States Marine
that saving that guy's life is going to be the end of your life. That's not suicide.
I
That's
see what
honor.
you're saying.
It's honor.
It's a sacrifice.
Well, it is also suicide.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
No,
Well,
it's not.
No. What's the definition
No.
of suicide? Doing something you will get
Suicide
yourself
is
killed on
killing
purpose.
yourself
Well, there's plenty
without
of metal-
without
Have you, ever
valid
heard of
reason.
have you ever heard of suicide by cop?
No, that's different.
But that's
because there's
not
no honor
killing
in that.
yourself for valid
What would you
reason.
call a
Suicide-
Medal of Honor recipient that jumps on a
suicide-
grenade for his platoon?
This man
Suicide
would
demand
not
an
be
element of honor
suicide
to
if
it?
he jumped
Okay.
on a grenade to
That's
save
not
my
gonna
life.
be good. We've talked about religions, the aspects of them, how they relate to cults, then the actual definition of cults and how they relate to religion. And I only got one person on board with me that they're basically synonymous. So I guess I'm not very persuasive. And then I talked about the burned over district of upstate New York and what I consider a burned out district, an older burned out district of the Middle East. So, and how there's really no difference other than time frame and hearsay,
Unless it's true.
unless it's true.
I mean, that's
Well,
that's
and
the
which
issue.
sliver of the truth are we talking about? That would be the biggest
Which
concern for
sliver
me.
of the
How do we
truth
get-
Yeah, is it the Episcopal
just
slither? Is it
one
the
that is
Catholic
true,
sliver?
one
Is it
that
the
is not?
Episcopal slither? Or we talked about this before already. But if you happen to pick the wrong one, if you grow up Mormon, I know some fantastic Mormons out there that live their faith much better than anyone else I know.
Yep.
And
People live it better than me.
If we're
Yeah.
going down the Pascal route, there's roughly 4,000, if you include denominations, there's 4,000 active religions on the planet.
yeah,
So if you want to go Pascal, believing in none is statistically about the same as believing in one.
yeah.
Let's get a really good question.
Well,
Well, I would go if I'm going to pick one. I go
that
Catholic.
seems to be rather. You've got maybe there's 4,000. Okay, there's 4,000 that do believe in one, and there's one that does not. I mean, statistically, if you're just taking statistics, it looks like it would be much more likely that one of these would be the right one than the one that
Not
does
much
not.
more. If there's 4,000 in the pool.
Well,
and
if there's 4,000, if there's,
you're a
this gives me a good
6
question.
billion people, 6.999 billion people that believe in some kind of God and 0.001 that do not, and you're trying to pick whatever.
You're correct in that picking one of them statistically is better than picking zero.
Barely.
But barely.
No.
But what
I'm
if
just
you're
saying-
making
no,
the
no,
real
you
God
wanna pick
mad,
one.
pissing him off by picking the wrong one? That's what you have to think about when you talk about Pascal's wager.
And you're right. You want to pick the right one. There's
So then can I ask? I have a really great
Let me throw one to finish this thought here. So what the logic
Just
really
different
says.
So what's more important if you're thinking about along the lines of Pascal's wager? Is it more important to pick the God you think is the right God, or would it be better strategy to avoid not picking the worst hell?
Yeah, that would make the most sense. So
Do you pick the best God, or do
pick
you
the
pick the
religion
worst
that has
hell?
the worst hell. That way you can avoid it.
Right, yeah. Pick the worst hell so you can avoid it, right?
yeah. Well, that would be the Christian hell is pretty miserable. I mean, I teach classical literature, right? I teach Iliad, Odyssey, Aeneid. I teach Homer. I teach Communist Manifesto. I teach. You
could actually probably have a conversation about that.
I teach a lot of different things. You're talking about questions. Do we ask questions? I encourage questions in my classes.
Yeah, but we want to know the answers to the questions.
Oh, absolutely. But the issue earlier was the can you at least ask questions? And I require my kids to turn in a question every week, and I tell them I'm not afraid of any question. And you ask any question. And I have kids asking me, how can you even believe in there is God? Those questions are good. But anyway, where was I going? We were going with. Hold on a second. So you're talking about we're comparing hell, Hades, and hell. If you want
what's
to pick
what's the best strategy to get to the best heaven or to avoid the worst hell?
I think neither one.
Neither one of those things are a good strategy.
Correct. I think neither one of those are a good strategy. I think absolutely neither one of those are a good strategy.
I hate to put the plug in this.
I believe that the best strategy is to find what in the world are quantum mechanic scientists trying to do, and
figure out.
And hold on a second, quantum mechanics and general relativity scientists trying to do
The grand unified theory.
Surface of
The CERN in Geneva.
the black hole. What is the event horizon? Thank you.
Oh.
At the event horizon of a black hole, the quantum mechanic says, "Sorry, general relativity, you broke. You don't work." And then a general relativity says, "Look, guys, at this place also." Sorry, quantum mechanics, you broke. And so they both want to. But the point I'm trying to make is they're trying to find the truth.
But
I'm not saying that they're absolutely contradictory.
The
What
fact-
I'm saying is they're trying to find the truth, and that's all I recommend you do.
The fact that
Find
we
the
don't that we may or may not have a tool to describe or observe or measure the singularity at the Big Bang or the event horizon of a black hole doesn't mean that A, we might find a tool to measure it one
That's
day,
my point.
and B,
That's
we
exactly
rely
my
on
point.
supernatural phenomena.
I wasn't saying that.
Oh, okay.
All
Anyway,
I was saying is find the truth.
Yep. That's a great way to wrap it up. We're all here seeking truths.
We have more